Hello, I am Haley and welcome to my first ever book haul. So since it's just my first time doing this, it's not specifically like from 1 month. It's basically just every book that I've purchased since I started watching BookTube and becoming involved. So it's about the last 2-3 months worth of books that I've gotten. So it's a pretty long video, so sit back and relax, but I think there's some good fun stuff in here. So first off, Barnes & Noble has had a fantastic summer deal that all of their brand of paperback classics are only $5. I think it's still going on. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure, I don't know when this video is going to come out, but if it is, it's worth going down to Barnes & Noble and checking it out. So the books that I got, I've been wanting to read Canterbury Tales for a long time recently. It's come into my mind recently. I remember when I was in high school I read like a section of it and I really enjoyed it and I've always wanted to go back to it, so I figured now for $5, why not? Likewise, just in general, I've been really wanting to read poetry more. It's not something that I'm a fan of in general, but I want to become more open to it and just kind of read everything. So I thought a good place to start would be the collected poems of Emily Dickinson. I think she's just a classic. I think it's a good place to start with poems. So yeah, Emily Dickinson for the win. Continuing with the poetry is The Inferno by Dante Alighieri, and we usually just call him Dante. When I bought this, I was just excited to get The Inferno, and then I remembered that it's actually part of the Divine Comedy, so maybe I should have gotten it as a full book. But we'll see. I think this is the main one that you're kind of taught, the main one that people recommend you read. So I'll start with it and then see if I feel like I want to continue. But this is definitely the part of the Divine Comedy that I'm the most interested in. And then last for my Barnes & Noble books, I got The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. I guess it's a little controversial, but I like science, I love animals, I think evolution is really interesting. My only concern is that it might be a little bit dry just because it is scientific, but I definitely want to visit this and learn a little bit more about nature and the animals that I love. Recently, I've also been getting a lot of used books. So the first book I got a good deal on Club Dead, book 3 of the Sookie Stackhouse novels, which obviously True Blood is based on. If you see, look at the cover, look at all those sexy vampires right there. I read the first book and I liked it, and then I read book 2 and stopped, I think, and I don't know why, because I think this series is not like life-changing or anything, but I think they're fun books. I really do enjoy them, so I decided I'm going to go back eventually and reread this series, and for $2, why would I pass it up? And then I stumbled on this little gem called Working with Walt, and I'm really excited about this one. It's just a bunch of interviews with kind of lesser-known Disney artists, and obviously if you see my channel at all, I am a huge Disney fan, and I don't know enough Disney history. That's the one thing that I feel like I could really stand to learn more about. And I've been wanting books like this, so when I stumbled on this used, I was like, yes, please, I must have this. The next used book I found was Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, and I've heard really good things about this book. I've been really intrigued by it for a while. It's probably going to be, sadly, a little while before I can get to it because I have a plan for the rest of the year. But it's high on my list, and it's not going to be too long before I get to it. Next, I picked up Sisterhood Everlasting, which is a kind of newer, I guess, adult book continuing the story of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I don't know if there's any more planned or if this is just kind of like a standalone, just here's how they're doing as adults. But I really like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants books, and I don't think they get talked about enough, especially on BookTube. I don't hear anybody talking about, at least what I've seen. And I think it was a really, really good, surprisingly good series. I remember it being like, Traveling Pants? No, and I refused to read it for the longest time. And then I guess I just decided to watch the movie, maybe because I like Gilmore Girls and Alexis Bledel was in it. I don't know, but I somehow decided to pick up the books, and then I was addicted. I flew through those books. They're so good. And so I don't know what to expect of this, honestly. I don't know how I feel about revisits to series that have already been well established, but I definitely want to give it a shot and see where the girls ended up. And then this month I got a few Tolkien books, coincidentally at the same kind of time, about a week apart. I didn't mean to, I just stumbled upon some good deals. So I got these beautiful art covers of The Two Towers and Return of the King. They match my Fellowship of the Ring that I got really far into and then gave up reading because I got distracted by another book, because that's the story of my life. But anyway, I really loved this cover, and I can't have my series have different covers. It's part of my OCD. And I think a lot of you book readers, I think you can relate to that. I've always seen the Return of the King cover at Barnes & Noble, and this time I saw The Two Towers, which is like never there. So I was like, I'm gonna jump on it and get them now so that I can have all of them before they, who knows, sell out or whatever. I couldn't even find them on Amazon. So I was like, let me just get this now so that I have them. And then I was at Costco with my parents, and I found the Battles of Tolkien and an Atlas of Tolkien. And I've seen them around bookstores, but the price was so good I couldn't pass them up. And they're really beautiful inside. There's just a lot of like character art, and I absolutely love books like this that just have tons and tons of art. This is my kind of thing. There's art, text on the art, and just really great page layouts. And then this one obviously has some really beautiful maps and more. Oh, I just absolutely love it. I love any art that's based on Tolkien, so I had to get these, especially for the deal. Yes, these are a fantastic addition to my collection, and they're beautiful. They're like this nice texture, kind of like fake leather. I don't know what they are, but I like touching them. They feel nice. Next is my current read, Les Miserables. I know this cover is already beat to crap. I didn't want to get this cover. I would have preferred to have a hardback, especially for a book. It's really inconvenient to hold this 1,400-page book. But I did a lot of research into which translation I wanted because I'm that much of a nerd. And this one sounded like the best. That's not like too wordy. It's a little bit more modernized, but it's also not too modernized. It's the only, I think, unabridged version that's out, and me being the weirdo I am, I wanted to hear all the description of the sewers. I feel weird reading abridged versions. I want to make sure that I have everything as the author intended. This is the Fanistock and McAfee translation, and I am loving it so far. I think it's a fantastic translation. Obviously, I don't know what it sounded like originally in French, but it's easy to read, and I think that's really important with a book that's already really big. You should have a good time reading it, and I definitely am. Even with how great the translation is, it takes a while to read, but so far I really think it's worth it, and I will definitely be doing a review in 10 years when I finish this. I mean, I'm hoping not to take 10 years, but it's just going to take longer than I would like, just simply because it's 1,400 pages. In July, it was my birthday, and I got a gift card to Amazon, so I got a few books that have been patiently waiting on my wish list for a while. And one of them is Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Guillermo del Toro is easily probably like my second favorite director after Wes Anderson. I also have the book about his movies as well. I wanted this book so bad. I was fortunate enough to see the Guillermo del Toro exhibit at the Los Angeles Museum County of Art back in October of last year. When I went to Stanley Kamikaze, we took a quick trip over there before the convention, and it was just beautiful. Just the things that inspire him are amazing, and just to see all the stuff he has, just from Lovecraft and horror and like freak show characters, and just interesting to see into the mind of a director. And this book is really beautiful, and you get to see pages into his journals, and I'm really jealous that like he's already this multi-talented writer and director and who knows what, but he can also draw really well. I wish my journals looked like this. I wouldn't be so afraid of storyboarding when I direct. And it's just, there's background on all of his movies and his personal work and inspiration, and I live for things like this. I don't like Twilight, and I bought Catherine Hardwicke's journal just because I liked the layout of it and just kind of seeing into the mind of a director. So for this, a director who I really respect, oh my gosh, I can't wait to read this book. So the next book that I got is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. And I basically got this book simply because of BookTube. So many people have built this book up, and it does sound really good too. I'm so grateful for BookTube because I wouldn't have found out about this book, I don't think, if it weren't for everybody on here. So anybody who's been talking about this book, thank you, because I mean, I haven't read it yet. I can't say that it's fantastic, but it sounds really good. And I'm really looking forward to getting around to reading this one. And then the last book I got with my Amazon gift card, which is another book that I got pretty much because of BookTube, is Illuminate. And I mentioned that this is very much in the style of writing that I really, really like, that it's all mixed media. There's like emails and files and it's just crazy. There's nothing that's like just like prose, and I absolutely love it. It's so different. If you don't know, it's about a couple who breaks up, but then there's alien invasion, and there's a lot of secrecy of documents, and I'm probably giving a really terrible description of it, but you know, this is a long video as it is. I want to read all of these books so badly. I don't know how I'm going to be able to get to all of them, but I mean, this book I think I'll fly through because it's very well spread out. All the pages are like, well, look, there's a line. So hopefully I can just fly through all these books. And yeah, I'm going to have to make my reading goal on Goodreads next year like 100 books just so I can get through all these. And then another book that I got into because of BookTube pretty much is Outlander by Dana Gabaldon. And I tried so hard to stop myself from buying this book. It's like, just wait until you catch up on all the other reading that you have to do. Obviously, you guys saw I have a big stack of books waiting for me to get through, and a 1,400-page book that I need to finish first. And this book is not small either. But when I get my mind set on reading a book, unfortunately, I can't stop myself, and I just have to buy it so I don't have to keep, like, fixating on it and just obsessing with it. So I just got it so I can stop thinking about it. I don't watch the show. I kind of wanted to just experience the book first. I prefer to do that when possible. There's a lot of shows and movies that I haven't been able to do that with, so I said I'm going to just wait, read the book, and then if I really want to, I'll check out the show later. I don't have stars anyway, so it doesn't make much of a difference. And this honestly isn't really a book I would normally reach for. And if you don't know what the book is about, this woman goes on her honeymoon, she stumbles upon some Scottish ruins, and ends up going back in time to the 18th century. And then it's just, she gets put into the middle of a war, and she meets this guy who's really hot, and they have some sexy times, but it's not, I was sold on it because it's not just about the love story. I heard there's a lot more to it, and that's what I'm really interested historical fiction is really where it's at for me right now. So I'm super intrigued by this book, and that's what made me decide to pick it up. So I'm actually really excited to read this one. And saving the best for last is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I did a review of this book, so if you're interested, I will leave the link down below. I was not planning on doing a review of this book. That's how much I loved it. This is one of my favorite books now. I recommend it, highly recommend it. But yeah, this was purchased recently. Not a regret in my soul for buying this book. So that's going to do it for my first ever book haul. I hope you enjoyed seeing it, and if you did, I'll continue to do them. Let me know if there's a demand for more book hauls. I can give more descriptions of them. I know I kind of left it out, but there's so many books in this that I just kind of wanted to keep it short and simple, just show you what books I'm interested in reading for the next year probably. So thanks for watching, and let me know what books you purchased recently, and I will see you guys soon.